for coming out, and this is a continuation of a tour that we've been on. Jan and I, where are you, Jan?
Here.
There she is, back there. Jan and I have been on a tour called Liberate Main Street. And what it was is, over the course of days when we were hearing about Occupy Wall Street, and everybody's talking about government solutions, and this bailout and that bailout, and we needed to pass a stimulus and all of that, we came to the conclusion that people needed in Congress to focus on the real issue, and that is, if we want to turn our economy around, we really need to liberate Main Street. The applause was probably started by the owner of the establishment. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to be here.
You're very welcome.
It means a lot to us. And you know, as I travel around, I have, as you know, town hall meetings all over Montana continually. I travel all 56 counties. And the one thing I always ask the question, are you better off than your parents or grandparents? And pretty much everybody in the room will raise their hand, yes. When I ask the follow-up question, do you think your children will be better off than you? Will they have the same opportunities? Very few hands go up, in fact, almost none. People are really concerned about the direction this country is taking. They don't know what their tax bite is going to be because of the expiration of the tax relief at the end of this year. They hear words like sequestration and they want to know, what does that mean? I usually say it means big cuts. They're worried about the regulations that are being passed upon them. They're asking me questions like, with Obamacare, what is that going to do to my small business? What is it going to cost me? So there's this level of uncertainty that we all know. The government doesn't create jobs. Small businesses do. People do. The expansion of our economy is going to occur as a result of government getting off the backs of small business and trying to give them some relief. I used as an example in the debate the other day, the Correct Plan. Senator Tester was warned that if he voted a certain way, that it would put plants at risk. And the Correct Plan has since announced that they will be shutting their doors in 2015, costing 35 jobs and $10 million out of our economy. That is the wrong thing to do at a time when you're trying to rebuild your economy. You need to liberate Main Street, get out of the way. Don't be dumping a lot of new regulations that are, whether they're coming out of the financial reform, Dodd-Frank. You know, the irony of that is they were trying to get at the banks too large to fail, and yet go down and talk to your local banker and they will tell you that it's very difficult for them to loan money now. And what do banks do for a living? They loan money. That's what they want to do. And your local banker will tell you the regulations are just beginning from that financial reform legislation that is hurting them here in smaller communities of Montana as opposed to getting to Wall Street. And so as I travel around, I'm answering a lot of questions. Obamacare. What does it really mean? Did it, in fact, reform health care? No. It added more people to a failing system. And people are worried. They're upset. They see the level of debt that has been created. When Senator Tester was elected, it was $8 trillion. Now it's 16. And I don't know what's going to cost us our country. Is it 20, 30, 40? I don't know, and I don't want to find out. So when people ask me, why are you giving up your House seat? Why are you giving up your chairmanship of one of the appropriations committees? I say, I have to. I'd rather not be in Congress than not try to change the majority in the Senate, where John Thune is having a difficult time passing a budget because of Harry Reid and their majority. They haven't passed a budget in over 3 years. That's irresponsible. That is not transparency. That is not giving people the kind of government they have expected and wanted. And I think that's why they changed the majority in the House. And yet we still have a problem with the Senate passing their budget, so we can begin negotiations of doing what the people of America want us to do, and that's build a more secure future, one community at a time, one neighbor at a time, one family at a time, and government is injecting itself. So we have two paths. We have the path of government, and if you're satisfied, and I think you're not, but if you're satisfied with that path of a failed stimulus, Obamacare, all the things that go along with Dodd-Frank, then John Tester's your guy for the next 6 years. But if you think we can do better by removing the impediments of government, by giving certainty in our tax structure, then I'm your candidate. And I'm asking for your support. Without delay, one of my friends in Congress, we served together in the House. He got there sooner than I. He was elected in 1996. but we have much of the same background. We like journeying in sticks. I actually got to play with Skunk Baxter as a doobie player.
That's what I hear.
I was the drummer in their band one day, and that was a lot.
Dream, baby.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I had a fundraiser at the Sticks and Journey concert. But John and I worked very closely together on the Farm Bill when I first got to Congress. It was a new Farm Bill. I was sworn in 2001. And we served on the same committee, and we worked on the country of origin labeling together, much to the dismay of President Bush. It's one of those cases where we said, we think it's in the best interest of the producers of Montana and South Dakota and the nation to be able to label our products born, raised, and processed in America. And so we worked together. He eventually moved on to the Senate, and we worked on the issue together then. But he's been a great friend. He's survived 2 daughters, as I am now, and a wonderful wife. And I've really enjoyed both getting to know John and working with John. And I thank you for coming out. He's in leadership in the Republican conference. He is the chairman of the conference, which is a big deal. Those of us that are involved in that know that when you're the conference chairman, your peers have elected you to a leadership role. And who knows how far that's going to take them. But again, it means a lot, John, that you'd be willing to come. So if you'd say a few words, and then we'll open some questions.
Thanks, Denny, for the introduction. And it's great to be in Montana. We kind of breezed in today. Actually, we were going against the breeze, actually, but it's great to be in Helena. I've been to Montana several times, but never the state capital. And I'm here today for Denny Rehberg. And the importance of this race to the people of Montana and to this country can't be overemphasized. This race really is about Montana jobs. It's about the Montana economy. It's about this economy across the country, and whether or not we're going to continue down a path that relies on a bigger, more expanded government, higher taxes, more regulations, makes it more expensive and more difficult for small businesses like this to stay in business and to create jobs, or are we going to embark on a different direction? A direction that allows the entrepreneurs in this country, the small businesses, as Denny said, to do what they do best, and that is to create jobs and grow our economy and improve the standard of living and the quality of life for all Americans. If you look at the last 4 years, in the last 6 years in this Senate term, what you've seen is higher taxes, fewer jobs, and lower take-home pay. And as people start to look at this question of am I better off than I was 4 years ago or 6 years ago, it's a pretty simple conclusion, really. Because gas prices have more than doubled. If you look at college tuitions up 25%, health care costs, contrary to the assertions of Obamacare, are up almost 30% for families in this country. You've seen the number of people on food stamps go up by 46%. We have record amounts of numbers of people in poverty in this country, and the federal debt has gone up by over 50%, the debt that we're piling on our children and grandchildren. That's why this race is so important, because as Denny mentioned, in the House of Representatives, where he serves and where I serve with him, they are constantly over there fighting the battle, trying to put policies in place that will grow the economy, make it easier, less expensive, less difficult for small businesses to create jobs. Everything comes to the United States Senate, and it gets killed by the majority there. And what we've seen, and whether you like the people on the other side or not, you can like President Obama, you can like John Tester, the fact of the matter is their policies aren't working. They're not working for too many Americans. And that's why we need to put new policies in place. And Denny and his colleagues in the House of Representatives have been great about sending legislation over to the Senate where it runs into a brick wall in the form of the Democrat majority there. And it really starts fundamentally, like Denny said, with the budget. We haven't passed a budget. Can you believe this? We haven't passed a budget in 3 years in the United States Senate. I got on the Budget Committee after the last election, so I've been on the Budget Committee for 2 years now. It's like an irrelevant committee in the United States Senate. We haven't even marked up a budget, let alone put one on the floor of the United States Senate. We spend $3.5 trillion every year of the American people's tax money, and we don't even have a plan about how we're going to spend it. That is inexcusable. It is a discredit to the United States Senate, and it's a disservice to the American people. So I'm here because this race is so important. If we're going to get this country turned around, get it back on the right track, get the Senate functioning again, and moving Montana, moving this country in a different direction that will allow young people in this country to have a brighter and better and more prosperous future. And that's really in jeopardy today because of the policies that are coming out of Washington, D.C., making it more difficult for young college graduates coming out to find jobs, and making it more difficult for small businesses like this one to hire more employees and to grow their businesses. And you can see businesses like this all over Montana and all over South Dakota. We have a lot in common in our two states. We share not only a border, we share a common heritage. Our states both became states in 1889. We have the same type of people who believe fundamentally that in a limited role for the federal government, that you ought to keep taxes low on small businesses and on the American people. That you want to make sure that you're putting policies in place that will grow the economy and create jobs in a way that doesn't depend upon growing the size of the government in Washington, D.C., but in growing the size of the private economy here in Montana and places like it all across this country. So I'm here because I'm supporting Denny. I've had the chance to serve with him. I know what a strong, outspoken, independent voice he is for the people of Montana. He will do the right thing for the future of the state of Montana. He will do the right thing for the future of this country. We need him in the United States Senate. And I hope that on November the 6th, that everybody here will get out, not only make sure that you're voting and your family members are voting, but go out there and find other people that you can bring to the polls, because this election could very well decide the majority of the United States Senate. And it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever for the state of Montana to vote for President Romney, hopefully President Romney, but for Governor Romney for president, and not give him a team that he can work with in the United States Senate that will put policies in place that will get this country back on track and provide a better and more prosperous future for the young people and for people all across Montana. So thanks for the chance to be here. I'd be happy to